Demand. Demand in economics means that you're willing and have the capacity to pay for something. Just wanting something does not count as demand in economics. You must be able to pay for it. In economics, prices are the tools by which the market coordinates your desires. So prices tells the market what is it that individuals out there want. One of the things that we'll see in demand, and that's very important when you're studying about demand, is called the law of demand. This is saying that prices and quantity are going in opposite direction, or there is an inverse relationship between prices and quantity. Basically, as prices go up, quantity demanded tends to go down. As prices go down, quantity demanded goes up. Alright, that's what this is saying. Quantity demanded goes up as prices fall. Other things constant, quantity demanded falls as prices rise. Other things constant. We'll get to this other things constant in a second. So what do you think, why do we have this law of demand? Well, that's due to people tend to substitute for goods whose prices have gone up with goods that haven't. The demand curve is basically, that we're going to draw in a second, is just basically a representation of this law of demand. The demand curve usually slopes, well, not usually, always slopes downward and to the right. This is showing as prices going up, quantity demanded going down. Here's a sample demand curve. If you look at it, at this price, this is the level of quantity being demanded. This is quantity demanded. If price goes up to here, let's say, you will see that quantity demanded, whoops, actually falls. And if prices go down, let me just do a quick line here, you see that quantity demanded actually increases. Now this is if other things are constant. And this puts a big limitation on this, what the law of demand is all about. All these other factors that are there are other things beside price that's gonna affect demand, quantity demanded. But we're gonna assume all these things are gonna remain constant. Whether they actually remain constant or not does not matter for this model. We're going to just zoom them away for now to draw that demand curve that you just saw. Now these factors that might change, that we're assuming away that to draw that demand curve, include your changing taste, so people don't want your product anymore, or maybe price of other goods, maybe some other price of some other good that's competing or as a substitute or as a complement to your good actually goes up or down. It's going to affect your demand curve. If the people out there, their income goes up or down, that's going to affect your demand curve. So we're assuming all these things away. We're going to see that there are two types of movements out there that we're going to see. There's one is called a shift in demand, and one is a movement along the demand curve. A movement along the demand curve is what happens when the price When price changes, it moves the quantity demanded. So let's look at that graphically. Look at this graph. At point A, at $1, we are selling 200 units quantities being demanded. When the price goes up to $2, quantity demanded falls by 100. We move up to point B. This is called a change in quantity demanded, or a movement along the demand curve. This is only caused by change in price. Now there is another kind of movement, and it's called a shift in demand, or a change in demand. happens because something else beside price is changing. And those other things, let's look at this. So for example, look at this. At $1, back up, at $1 there's 250 units is being demanded. But let's see, when demand shifts in, or we got a whole new demand curve, at the $1 now only 200 units being demanded. So what happened? Price did not change. Something else changed out there. And those things are the things that we kept constant before. So what could they be? There is income. So if income changes, price of other goods changes. It's going to cause a shift. If a taste of consumers out there change, it's going to shift the demand curve. If expectations change, that's going to shift the demand curve. If you give a tax or subsidize the consumers, that's going to shift the demand curve. If the number of buyers change, that's going to shift the demand curve. And that is way different than when you had other things constant. So if any of those other things constant change, we have a shift in the demand curve. I want to thank you and remind you to remember there is a difference between a change in demand and change in quantity demanded. Change in quantity demanded is caused by price. A change in demand or a shift in demand is caused by these and other variables out there.